stop. Before you buy a single piece for fall 2026, ask yourself one question. Are you building an elegant wardrobe or just buying this season's marketing? Because every autumn, women spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on trends that look luxurious for exactly 1 month and surprisingly ordinary after that. The painful part? Most of these pieces aren't ugly. They're simply designed to expire. And that is exactly how fast fashion keeps you shopping instead of becoming stylish. Today, I'm showing you 12 fall 2026 trends that are simply not worth your money, and what truly elegant women choose instead. Because expensive style isn't about spending more, it's about buying fewer things that quietly say more. And stay until the end, because one trend on this list is making otherwise polished women look noticeably older without them realizing it. Let's begin. 1. Oversized faux suede jackets. This season, oversized faux suede jackets are everywhere. Soft camel, chocolate brown, olive. They photograph beautifully online. But in real life, most inexpensive versions lose their elegance surprisingly fast. The fabric begins to flatten, the sleeves lose structure, and suddenly, what looked relaxed starts looking tired. Elegant dressing depends on shape. When fabric can't hold its own silhouette, neither can your outfit. Instead, look for a structured wool jacket, a refined twill utility jacket, or a genuine suede piece if your budget allows. Even a beautifully tailored cotton jacket with clean shoulders will appear far more expensive than limp faux suede. Here's another detail most women overlook. Keep your layers underneath slim. A fitted knit, straight-leg trousers and one structured outer layer create balance. Oversized on oversized rarely looks intentional. It simply hides you, and that's where many women confuse volume with sophistication. But the next trend makes an even bigger mistake because it quietly destroys proportions before anyone notices. 2. Dramatic bubble. Hem skirts fashion loves extremes. This year, bubble hems have returned in dramatic shapes. They're playful, they're different, they're eye-catching. But ask yourself something. Do you want people remembering your skirt? Or remembering you? True elegance always lets the woman remain the focus. Extremely rounded silhouettes add unnecessary width around the hips and interrupt the natural vertical line of the body. Instead, choose graceful movement, an A-line midi, a softly pleated skirt, or a fluid bias-cut silhouette. These shapes move beautifully while allowing your posture to shine. Here's a simple styling trick. If your skirt already creates movement, keep your top beautifully minimal. A fine knit tucked in, a silk blouse, a fitted turtleneck. One dramatic piece is enough. Luxury whispers. It never competes with itself. If you've ever felt that an outfit looked fashionable but somehow didn't feel flattering, this may be exactly why. And speaking of proportions, the next trend creates one of the most expensive-looking mistakes women make every fall. 3. Oversized belted blazers. At first glance, these blazers seem incredibly chic. Extra wide shoulders, long length, a belt tied tightly around the waist. But here's what often happens. Instead of creating elegance, they create bulk. The oversized shape fights against the cinched waist, making the outfit feel forced rather than effortless. Elegant tailoring should enhance your figure, not compete with it. Instead, invest in a softly tailored blazer that naturally follows your shoulders. No exaggerated padding, no excessive fabric, just beautiful construction. One small styling adjustment instantly elevates this look. Instead of tying the belt tightly, leave your blazer open over a monochromatic outfit. The uninterrupted column of color underneath creates height, and the open jacket frames the body beautifully. It feels lighter, more confident, and infinitely more timeless. Remember, the goal isn't to look like you're wearing fashion. The goal is to look like fashion belongs to you. But the next trend is one that many women buy because influencers keep calling it quiet luxury. Unfortunately, that's only half the story. 4. Head-to-toe burgundy. Burgundy is one of fall 2026's biggest colors. And yes, it's beautiful, rich, sophisticated, timeless. Until everything becomes burgundy. The coat, the sweater, the trousers, the boots, the handbag. Suddenly, elegance turns into costume. Real luxury uses color with restraint. Instead of wearing burgundy from head to toe, let it become your statement. Choose one hero piece. Perhaps a handbag, perhaps beautiful leather loafers, or a refined knit. Then surround it with soft neutrals: cream, camel, charcoal, chocolate. Those quiet shades allow burgundy to feel intentional instead of overwhelming. Here's another secret that elegant women understand. Luxury is often created through contrast, not repetition. And once you notice that, you'll never style autumn colors the same way again. Now the next trend is everywhere because it feels comfortable, but comfort without structure often sends the wrong message. 5. Slouchy knit sets. Matching knit sets have become autumn's uniform. They're cozy, easy, comfortable, but comfort alone doesn't communicate refinement. Many inexpensive knit sets stretch after only a few wears. The knees begin to bag, the sweater loses its shape, the waistband starts twisting. Suddenly, the entire outfit resembles elevated loungewear instead of polished dressing. Instead, separate the pieces, pair a beautiful cashmere sweater with tailored wool trousers. Wear a knit skirt with a crisp white shirt. Mixing textures creates visual richness, and here's a styling detail worth remembering. Always define one area of the body. If the sweater is relaxed, choose straighter trousers. If the skirt flows, keep the top more refined. Elegance lives in balance, not in matching everything perfectly. Have you ever worn something incredibly comfortable, yet somehow felt underdressed? That's exactly the difference structure makes. But what comes next may be the biggest shopping trap of the entire season. 6. Trendy statement. Hardware bags. This autumn, bags covered in oversized buckles, giant zippers, chains, studs, and decorative hardware are impossible to ignore. They demand attention, and that's precisely the problem. Elegant accessories complete an outfit. They shouldn't compete with it. The more decorative details a bag has, the quicker it becomes recognizable as belonging to one very specific trend cycle. Instead, choose clean lines, beautiful leather, minimal hardware, excellent craftsmanship, a simple top handle bag, a refined shoulder bag, or a structured tote. These never ask for attention. They quietly earn it. One final styling principle before we continue. If your handbag is beautifully understated, you can afford slightly more personality elsewhere. Perhaps textured earrings, perhaps an elegant scarf, perhaps rich suede shoes. Luxury styling is about knowing where to stop, and that restraint is exactly what separates timeless women from fashionable ones. The next few trends are where elegant women quietly separate themselves from everyone else. These are the purchases that often seem harmless in the store, but months later become the pieces sitting untouched in the back of the closet. And if you fix only one thing from the rest of this video, let it be this. 7. Chunky platform loafers. Platform loafers have become one of fall 2026's biggest footwear trends. The thick soles, the exaggerated height, the oversized silhouette, they certainly make a statement. But timeless elegance has never depended on making the loudest entrance. Heavy shoes visually pull the eye downward. Instead of creating graceful movement, they can make your outfit feel bulky and your proportions shorter, especially when paired with midi skirts or cropped trousers. A classic leather loafer with a slim profile creates a completely different impression. It feels intelligent, refined, intentional, and it works just as beautifully 5 years from now as it does today. Here's a styling secret elegant women understand. When your shoes are simple, your posture becomes the statement. People notice your confidence instead of your footwear, and confidence always outlasts trends. But the next trend creates an even bigger illusion, because many women believe it looks luxurious when it actually does the opposite. 8. Shiny satin. Everything. This season, satin isn't staying in evening wear. It's appearing on blazers, wide-leg pants, shirts, even trench coats. The problem isn't satin itself. The problem is wearing too much of it. Large areas of shiny fabric reflect every wrinkle, every fold, and every movement. Instead of looking luxurious, inexpensive satin often looks overly theatrical in daylight. Real elegance plays with texture. Pair one satin blouse with wool trousers. Wear a silk midi skirt beneath a soft cashmere sweater. Mix matte and shine. The contrast creates depth. And depth is one of the quietest signals of expensive style. Think about the most elegant women you've admired. Were they wearing 5 eye-catching fabrics at once? Or did everything feel calm, balanced, and effortless? Usually, it's the second. And speaking of balance, the next trend may be one of the fastest ways to make your wardrobe feel dated before winter even ends. 9. Oversized floral prints. Every fall, designers reinvent florals. This year, they're larger, bolder, and more dramatic than ever. But oversized prints often dominate the person wearing them. Instead of noticing your face, people notice the pattern. Timeless dressing keeps attention where it belongs. On you. Instead, choose subtle botanical prints, elegant herringbone, refined pinstripes, or understated checks. Smaller patterns blend naturally into an outfit rather than taking control of it. Here's another trick. If you're wearing a printed piece, Repeat one color from that print somewhere else in your outfit. Perhaps your shoes, your handbag, or your scarf. That small repetition creates harmony without looking overly coordinated. Luxury styling is rarely complicated. It's simply thoughtful. Now, the next trend surprises many women because it seems practical, but visually, it creates unnecessary heaviness. 10. Oversized blanket scarves. There is nothing wrong with staying warm, but scarves the size of blankets often overwhelm the entire outfit. Instead of framing your face, they hide your neckline, your tailoring, and sometimes even your posture. Elegant women understand that accessories should enhance, not conceal. A beautifully woven wool scarf or fine cashmere scarf drapes naturally and adds softness without creating bulk. Try letting one end hang longer than the other instead of wrapping it repeatedly around your neck. That single vertical line subtly elongates the body while looking effortlessly sophisticated. It's a tiny adjustment, yet people often assume the outfit itself has become more expensive. Interesting, isn't it? But this next mistake quietly ages many wardrobes because it feels safe, even though it actually removes personality. 11. Buying every piece in beige. Quiet luxury has convinced many women that dressing elegantly simply means wearing beige from head to toe. Not quite. Luxury isn't one color. Luxury is thoughtful color. An entirely beige outfit without variation can sometimes appear flat and lifeless rather than sophisticated. Instead, build dimension. Combine oatmeal with ivory, chocolate with camel, charcoal with soft cream, deep olive with warm taupe. Notice what changed. The outfit still feels calm, but now it has richness. Elegant wardrobes don't rely on loud colors. They rely on beautiful combinations. If your neutral outfits have ever felt a little unfinished, it may not be the clothes, it may simply be the lack of tonal contrast. And now we've reached the final point, the one I promised at the beginning. 12. Chasing every new trend. Instead of defining your signature. This is the most expensive mistake of all. Not one specific jacket, not one specific shoe, not one handbag, but constantly replacing your identity with whatever fashion tells you to become next. Elegant women don't have overflowing wardrobes. They have a recognizable style. You could open their closet 10 years apart and still recognize them. Not because they ignored fashion, but because they filtered every trend through one simple question. Does this look like me? If the answer is no, they leave it behind. Because style isn't built through constant change. It's built through careful consistency. This autumn, instead of asking, what's trending, ask something much more powerful. What deserves a permanent place in my wardrobe? That single question will save you money, reduce impulse purchases, and make getting dressed every morning remarkably effortless. Now I'm curious, which fall 2026 trend were you most tempted to buy before watching this video? And which timeless alternative will you choose instead? Share it in the comments. I always enjoy seeing which style lessons resonate most. If you're building a wardrobe that feels elegant today, timeless 10 years from now, and never dependent on fleeting trends, subscribe to The Polished Woman.